Guys, welcome back to the fly bench. We got a classic fly for you tonight. This is the pine squirrel leech. This was one of my favorite patterns when I first started with fly fishing. And to be honest, I completely forgot about it. So my fly box needed a couple, and that's what we're gonna do tonight. But first, I got a 12-year-old single malt Scotch whiskey. This is from Scotland called Auchentoshan. So pour ourselves a little drink there so we can get this fly tying session underway. Cheers. Oh, that's good. Okay, I'm gonna flip the camera around and go through the material list and we'll get started. Okay, yeah, so this is just a classic stillwater pattern. Like I said at the beginning, this was something that I've used when I first started fly fishing, and it's just a killer. It's the pine squirrel holds its shape really well underneath the water. It resembles a leech almost. I mean, look at this thing. If that wasn't a leech, I don't know what is. Underneath the body here, under the skirt, as I like to call it, I've added a little bit of olive hollow tinsel. So I hope that you can kind of pick that up on camera there, just underneath. Just to kind of give everything a little bit more of a flash. I got some crystal flash as well in the tail, and the body is a dubbing loop made with the pine squirrel too. So super simple pattern to tie. You don't use a lot of materials for it, and yeah, let's go ahead and get started here. We'll have a quick little drink. So cheers, guys. Thanks for coming out. Okay, so hook in the vise. This is an Ahrex size 10 barbless hook. Just like that. We got a black bead on that hook. It's a size 1/8 of an inch. And for tying thread, I'm just using black UTC 70. And we're just gonna dress the hook here. So apply your thread, trim off the tag end, and I'm just gonna work this thread just to kind of cover where my body's going to go. And I'm gonna come in here with our first bit of material that we're gonna tie in, and that is the ultra wire. So this is a black size small ultra wire. And this is just to kind of give that rib, that holographic tinsel, some protection. And I'm just gonna bring this right down the bend of that hook. I wanna bring my thread as far down as I can, because I'm gonna tie in my hollow tinsel next, and the further we have that hollow tinsel coming down the hook, the more it's gonna be exposed to the fish. So that's kind of a good length there. I grab my olive hollow tinsel just so you guys can see it. And I did screw up a little bit. I should have grabbed the medium size. This is a size small. So all that means is I'm gonna have to do more wraps around the hook with it. So not a big deal, but I mean, if you have a medium, that's obviously preferred. So you'll see here, we start wrapping this around, and because this is such a small diameter, you're just gonna have to do more wraps. Ideally, you want to overlap these so all you see is the olive, but if I come in here and miss a little bit, I mean, it's not the end of the world. You kind of get the general idea. So I'm going to bring this up the shank of the hook right to where my thread is, so I can come over twice just to lock that in, and then I'll come back over it here just to secure it in. Bring my thread right behind the bead, trim off the excess, save the excess in my hand for another fly, and then I'm just going to come in with my black wire and wrap this up just like we were doing a chironomid. So the black wire just kind of keeps everything intact, and I'm going to bring the wire up right behind the bead so I can lock that in. 2 behind, and then a couple in front, and then we can give this a helicopter off to break that wire. And then we can bring in our pine squirrel zonker. So the direction of the pine squirrel, the hair all flows in one direction. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the top of the pine squirrel. I'm going to remove. Be fairly generous with the move. We're just kind of giving ourselves a tying point and adding a bit of bulk to the body, so you can see how much of the hair I've removed there. And then we're just going to tie that in directly behind the bead. Try to get that to sit, the hide to sit right up on top. And you just want to secure that down. Bring that all the way back. And then leave your thread about halfway through. And then for the tail itself, how much overhang do we need? I like to have about maybe like an inch or so, maybe a little bit longer than the inch. And if you, I don't know, but you can see on the camera here, but if you flail that hair up, come in here with your scissors, cut that, and then you just have that nice tail that comes back. And now we can add in our crystal flash. And for the crystal flash, I am just using a UV pearl. So I've got 2 strands here. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna use 1 strand. So it's 1 on each side. So come over top, secure one end on my side, and then flip this over. And I'm gonna secure one end on the camera side for you guys. Trim these to length. Now for trimming these, I kind of just like to go halfway through the tail, right? So it's not the full length of the tail, just half. Otherwise it'll fall down a little bit too much. So the half is a good length. So you can still see the underbody there. And then we can go ahead with our dubbing loop. So I'm going to bring my thread back to the base. Now for the dubbing loop, we are going to be using the pine squirrel as the material. So the best way to do that is to get a fresh little zonker strap here. Come in with a pair of a clip. So you can use a chip clip, you can use whatever kind of works, just to kind of hold that hair in place, just like that. And then I'm going to come in with my scissors and cut down as close to that hide as I can. So I'll try to do this on camera so you can see it, but we'll see how this turns out. Okay, so I've got my the pine squirrel hair in there, and that's going to be our material for the dubbing loop. And for the dubbing loop, I'm going to pull back on my bobbin to show maybe about 3-4 inches worth of thread. Hold my finger and bring that back up to the fly. So I've basically just created a loop. I'm then just going to lock that in place with 2 wraps behind, hold on to the dubbing loop, and then bring my thread right back to where we're going to start tying. And then I can bring my thread back to in front of the bead. I'm going to grab my my chip clip here and put that inside that loop. Grab my dubbing whirl tool. So when I release this, the hair is held in place, and then I can kind of come in here and be ever so gentle and just kind of spread that hair out just a little bit. Come in behind, give that dubbing loop tool a spin, and then all that hair will spin and create a nice little loop. You can do that a couple times, maybe just do it twice just to make sure you got enough power there to give that thing a nice spin. And then you can kind of come in here with your hands or use a dubbing brush and just kind of fan it out. And then all we're going to be doing is wrapping this right around for the body. And then with every wrap, kind of bring that move that hair backwards. So we're leading with the thread, so to speak. Until we get right behind the bead. And then I can come in here with my thread and just tie that off. Snip off the excess. And there we have it, the pine squirrel leech. Come in here with our whip finish tool. And yeah, this is just a deadly pattern. If you're trolling around, if you're casting and retrieving into weed beds, fish will just go crazy for us. We got that green hollow tinsel underneath, and when this thing gets wet, it holds its shape. Okay, we're gonna do one more here. So we got that Ahrex hook in the vise. That's a size 10. You can tie these smaller. You can do a size 12. I just like the gap in between the hook point there. Okay, black tying thread. Snip off the excess. Black wire. I'm just going to grab a little bit more out of my spool here. And we're just going to tie that in right behind the bead. And then walk that down. As far as we can, just down the bend of that hook. And then we can come in with our olive hollow tinsel. Tie that in, and then leave our thread just behind the bead. You don't need to go all the way up. Oh, it looks like I didn't bring that tinsel all the way down to our wire. Just walk that down, no big deal. Okay. And then yeah, leave the thread just behind the bead. Start wrapping our hollow tinsel up. And like I said on the first fly there, try to get it as close as you can. Obviously this is a lot easier with a medium size hollow tinsel, but with the small, I mean, I'm just eyeballing this, and the green color is going to bleed through anyway, so it's going to look good. Bring that up, secure this behind, snip off the extra, and then let's bring our wire up. Open segments up. And just bring this right up to the bead so we can lock that off. A couple behind, a couple in front, and helicopter. Break that wire off. We're going to come in with our pine squirrel. Okay, again, hair direction is flowing back towards the curve of the hook. I'm going to rip off a tying point. Hold that hide down on the top just to kind of secure it in. Trying to keep it on the top as much as possible. Just like that. And then really clamp down to secure that. And then we want to trim our tail to length. So again, I'm just going to have about 1 inch kind of coming off the back, maybe a little bit longer. Trim that off. Come in with our strand of crystal flash. And tie that in on that side for you guys too. Cut off the excess. Again, we're cutting it to just about half of that tail. Okay. I'm going to prep the next bit of the old chip clip for our dubbing body. Or not dubbing body, but dubbing loop body. And I hope you guys can see, I mean, most of this on camera. I'll when I watch it afterwards, I'll make a judgment call. And if we have to do another video of just explaining how to do this, let me know, or you can ask questions in the comments. And I'm just gonna snip off as close to that hide as I can get. Okay, just so we have our hair there. Bring our thread into the middle, create that dubbing loop. Secure that down on the back end and then just walk our thread to where we're going to start it. And then bring our thread behind the bead. Grab our dubbing loop spinner. Grab our hair and chip clip. Make sure that that's fastened in there so when you let go, the hair stays. And then we can just gently move that hair around, spread it out a bit. So when we come in here to twist, give that dubbing spinner a twist, and then all of that hair will formulate together. Come in here with our fingers and just kind of pull it apart, loosen it up a bit. And then we can start wrapping. And then when we wrap, again, once we get to that point where the hair is hitting the fly, we want to brush everything back. So we're leading with the thread. And it'll just make the body appearance look like all that hair is flowing in the right direction. It keeps this fly looking buggy, just like so. And we'll lock that down. 2 wraps behind, a couple wraps in front. Come in here with our whip finish. Two turns with the whip finish. Cut off our thread. Have a sip of scotch. And we've done it. The pine squirrel leech. So there you go. There's 2 quick flies for you guys. Again, this is an awesome pattern. Highly recommend you have this in your fly box. Yeah, you can do this in, like I said, multiple different colors with the underbody underneath. Do a red one, red hollow. You can do no hollow at all. You can mix up and change the bead color, give that a bit of a hot spot. They also sell the pine squirrel in different colors too, so you can do like a brown and olive. For me, I find that the black works great, but yeah, it doesn't hurt to have a couple in the fly box. So thanks for watching, appreciate it, and as always, fish on.